Good afternoon, everyone. We'll call to order the City of Murfreesboro Board of Zoning Appeals regular meeting for April 22nd, 2026. First item on our agenda is a determination of a quorum, and with all 5 members of the board present, we do have a quorum today. Next item is public comment section. Has there been anyone reaching out to staff to make any comments?
No, sir.
All right. Next, we'll move to the consideration of the minutes from our last regular meeting from March 25th, 2026. Those minutes were provided to the board members. If there's any changes, those let us know, or we'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second for approval. Any further discussion? If you'd call the roll for us.
Mr. Batchelor?
Aye.
Mr. Kimberly?
Abstain.
Mr. Tips?
Aye.
Vice Chair Halliburton?
Aye.
Chair Young?
Aye. All right, so those minutes will stand approved as written. Next, we'll move to new business. We've got 3 special use permits today. The first one, application Z26008 by Mr. Joey Rouse for T&T Fireworks, requesting a special use permit in order to operate a temporary outdoor vending establishment, in this case seasonal fireworks sale, in a commercial highway zone. This is for property located at 1714 through 1798 West Northfield Boulevard. Mr. Shackelford Royal, if you will review that for us.
Good afternoon, Chair. This application is for a fireworks application or a fireworks temporary vendor in Georgetown Square. The property owner is Bricksmore Property Group, and the applicant is Jory Roos of T&T Fireworks. The applicant, Jory Roos, representing T&T, wishes to operate a fireworks tent for the 4th of July selling season from June 28th to July 5th, 2026. The property is located again at 1714 through 1798 West Northfield. The City of Murfreesboro zoning ordinance Chart 1 does allow seasonal retail use here with a special use permit. Property is zoned commercial highway, and the applicant will utilize a tent for temporary fireworks sales, as well as a generator and portable toilet for employees. The property is developed with the Georgetown Shopping Center, anchored by Kroger, and is Zone TH again. The site is surrounded by commercial developments that are also Zone TH, and the closest residential is about a quarter mile north. There are also auto dealerships right across the street along Northwest Broad. The tent will be situated along the western portion of the parking lot, closer to Northwest Broad Street, and they are intending to operate from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., which is consistent with other fireworks applications that we've gotten in the past. The applicant has provided a letter and site plan that demonstrates everything communicated in this report. It is compliant. The closest fire hydrant will be 60 feet from the proposed tent. The tent will be 341 feet from the closest fuel source and is more than 250 feet from any alcohol consumption locations. The applicant has agreed to remove all trash and equipment for the site before July 10th and has provided a letter of permission from the property owner granting them permission to operate. We believe this application is compliant with all of our zoning ordinances, but I'll just go over the general applicability as well as the temporary use vendor uses to show that it meets the criteria. The first one being that the proposed building will not use or have substantial or adverse effect on the adjacent properties in the neighborhood, change traffic conditions, or parking utility facilities. The location for the fireworks tent is situated towards the west of the lot, and there's a surplus of parking here, so we do not believe that this will cause any adverse impacts on location. Additionally, this use will use less than 25% of the total parking spaces, which is required of temporary vendors. Additionally, the proposed building used or The proposed building or use will not be constructed or arranged in a way where the businesses are impacted and will not interfere with the development of the adjacent properties. We believe that the fireworks sales tent will not interfere with the regular operations of the shopping center. Condition number 3 of general applicability, the proposed buildings are adequately served by public facilities such as highways, streets, parking, drainage spaces, and fire protection. We believe that this condition is met. The tent will take up about 18 parking spaces, but again, that's less than the maximum 25% that they're allowed to take up. So we think they're good there. Condition number 4, the building will not result in destruction or loss of any feature that will be significant to natural, scenic, or historic importance. We believe that that condition is met. This isn't a historic district, and the tent will be temporarily weighed down with water barrels, so there won't be any negative impact there regardless. 5th condition of general applicability, the proposed building or use complies with additional standards. Yes, as discussed, in addition to the general applicability, fireworks permits have to meet the temporary vendor standards, and we believe that those conditions have been met, but I'll go over them again. The application for a temporary vendor requires a special use permit. That application has been included. Condition number 2, the site for a temporary vendor shall be improved to provide adequate parking as determined by the BZA and shall provide an on turnaround area so that backing onto the street is not necessary. Parking areas shall have an asphalt, concrete, or desolate surface. In addition to the proposed location of the site of an existing or permanent business, the applicant must provide verification of spaces displaced by a temporary vendor, including areas for tents and trailers. As previously mentioned, it showed on a site plan that they're only taking up 18 spaces, and they also showed the location of the generator as well as the porta-john. Traffic control measures may be required by the BZA. These may include a requirement for the applicant to make provisions for directing traffic during expected peak hours of operation. The applicant is aware that there may be additional traffic control measures by the BZA, and they've agreed to complying if any should be required. Temporary facilities, including vehicles, trailers, or tents, will be permitted provided they are erected or placed in conformance with all applicable codes. Any tent must provide an emergency exit remote from the point of entrance into the tent. The applicant has confirmed that the tent will be placed on site in compliance with all applicable codes. The tent will be weighed down by water barrels, and the applicant has also confirmed that it will be monitored with overnight security. Any site used for a temporary vendor must be located so that all parts or facilities and sales inventory on site are no more than 500 feet from an operable hydrant. As mentioned before, it's 60 feet from the closest operable fire hydrant. Condition number 6, a deposit in the amount of $500 shall be provided with the site plan with the Building and Codes Department. The applicant is aware of the deposit and has required and the requirement to clean up the site after their approval process. Condition number 7, adequate provision shall be made for the restroom facilities on the property. There will be a portable, as mentioned, a portable toilet. It's right to the left of where the tent is shown. I can scroll down on the site plan if you want to see it. Okay, cool. That way you have a visual for it. Condition number 8, the BZA shall post on the property documentation of the BZA's granting of a temporary vendor special use permit for inspection by city officials or others during the course of temporary use. The applicant has confirmed they will comply with that condition. Condition number 9, no special use permit shall be granted to any applicant who occupies or proposes to occupy premises for the temporary vendor where conditions exist that are in violation of sign, building, fire, or electrical ordinance. The applicant states that they understand these requirements. Upon inspection of the site, there were no outstanding violations. Any electric meter installed or freestanding permanent pole or any temporary pole installed to supply temporary vendors shall be removed within 14 days of the special use permit expiration. The applicant states that they will be using a portable generator and that generator will be removed at the end of their use permit and will comply. Condition number 11, any site for a temporary vendor must be located so that all parts of the facilities and or tents and all inventories are outside of any easements or electric transmission or distribution. This condition has been met, and the applicant's tent will not be installed in any easements. Condition number 12, adequate provision be made that all solid waste be managed. If a dumpster is to be located, it shall be located in a manner to minimize the impact on adjoining properties. The applicant has confirmed that trash will be carried off daily to an off-site location. So no impact on trash. Condition number 13, signage for a temporary vendor shall conform to the city's requirements for city sign regulations, but not limited to an application for a sign permit, as well as payment for the sign fees. The applicant understands that this requirement must be met and will complete a sign application as well as pay the fees. Condition number 14, using and operating may be permitted to be played, the using, operating, permitted to be played, used, or operated for any radio receiving set, musical instrument, phonograph, live band, amplifiers, loudspeakers, or machine or device for producing or reproducing sound in any manner to disturb the peace, quiet, and comfort of the neighbors, residents, and any time louder than necessary for convenient hearing for the persons responsible for or producing or reproducing such sound shall not be permitted. The applicant will not use any noise amplification. Additionally, the applicant has stated that the generator will not disturb the peace of any businesses. A site may be used for temporary vending no more than 70 days during any 12-month period. The BZA may approve a site to be used by multiple temporary vendors, provided that no such site shall be used by more than one temporary vendor at any time. The applicant has stated that the site will only be used 8 days in total. The application has confirmed the dates that the tent will operate, which will be from June 28th to July 5th, and those hours of operation will be from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., which is consistent with other fireworks applications. Condition number 16, the BZA may require additional standards be met to assure compatibility of the proposed location as well as adjoining properties. The applicant will adhere to additional requirements, if any, are imposed by the BZA. Notwithstanding subsections 2 and 4 above, a temporary vendor may be permitted to locate parking areas, tents, and other facilities with gravel surfaces if such gravel surface lots were legally established. The parking lot is asphalt, so that condition does not apply. And condition number 8, the application for a grant and special use permit for temporary vending fireworks shall be subject to the following conditions. Condition AA, the site is located from 341 feet, so that meets the minimum 200 feet requirement from any fuel source. Condition BB, no fireworks retailer shall be approved for any site within 250 feet of an on-site liquor consumption or alcoholic beverage. That condition has been met. The sales period for a fireworks retailer location shall not be approved for any period that begins before June 28th or after July 5th. That condition will be met. The applicant is aware that this requirement is seeking to operate from June 28th until July 5th, and the hours of operation are consistent with our ordinances. ordinances and will run from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Condition DD, fireworks seasonal retailers must comply with all state and city laws and ordinances regarding the sale of fireworks, included but not necessarily limited to TCA 68-104 through 101 and City Code 12. The applicant will comply with these requirements as well as post a copy of these ordinances at the tent and throughout the selling season. A fireworks seasonal retailer shall not be approved for a period more than 1 calendar year. The applicant is aware of this requirement, and this request is only for the July selling season for 26. The applicant must obtain a tent permit for the fireworks tent. The applicant is aware of this requirement and will comply. GG, a fireworks seasonal retailer shall provide certification that the tent is flame resistant. We received that certification. HH, a fireworks shall be kept on site at all times. The applicant is aware of this requirement and will keep one on site. II, the city works ordinance shall be posted on site. The applicant will comply with that requirement. No fireworks are to be set off on site. The applicant will comply with this requirement. The site must pass electrical safety prior to opening for business, and electrical permit must be purchased from building and codes in order to obtain inspection. The applicant will comply with that condition. And lastly, the application for this special use grant is for the temporary vending of food, beverages, animals, produce, other merchandises, and any other temporary sales event that is not an accessory use to this principal use or on a lot or a portion of the lot shall be subject to the following additional conditions. Tables, chairs, and other furniture would allow or facilitate on-site consumption of food, and beverages shall not be allowed on-site. There won't be any food or beverage here, so the applicant will meet that condition. And finally, staff comments. Staff recommends approval for the requested special use permit to operate a temporary outdoor use for vending fireworks at the subject property as proposed, due to the evidence provided throughout their application that they will operate in compliance with our city requirements and that they meet all of the zoning ordinances that are applicable. Staff recommends approval with the following conditions. Condition number 1, the tent shall be located in the parking lot as shown on the aerial photo. Condition number 2, the fireworks shall meet all building setbacks. I confirmed beforehand that they meet setbacks. And condition number 3, the tent will be placed and weighed down in ways that do not penetrate the surface. They submitted with their application that it's going to be weighed down with water barrels, so I think they could easily meet these conditions. Open up the floor for any questions.
Thank you. I guess this is presented to us and not staff. Is there a change, significant change, or is this a new site?
It's a new site.
Okay.
TNT submitted several existing sites that were approved last year that staff was able to review and approve administratively per the ordinance. But this is a site, I'm trying to remember if there's been one in the past, but if there wasn't one last year at this location, then it automatically has to come back to the Board of Zoning Appeals.
All right. Any further questions for?
My only question, I saw on there that there was an acknowledgement that there needs to be a tent permit acquired. I would assume that's something that's handled separately by the city for that permitting requirement.
That's correct. So once the Board of Zoning Appeals approves a fireworks tent, there are a number of steps that has to, or a fireworks retail location, there are a number of steps that have to be followed through by our staff after that fact. And one is making sure that the applicant gets a tent permit, an electrical safety permit, pays the deposit. Then, after they put the tent out, we inspect it, make sure that they're meeting all the conditions of approval. So this is just kind of the first of many steps.
But the little devil on my shoulder says I can see a situation where someone says acknowledge, and there's just not follow-up on that. And so I assume there's a process in place.
There is.
That has never happened before, I'm sure.
Not with these applicants anyway, so.
Yeah, they have several other sites that are already operating, and they operated last year, and they've done a good job at maintaining compliancy on those. And they can't get the other permits until we issue the special use one, so,
Great,
yeah.
thank you.
And the vendors that come and apply each year, they've all been doing this for years, and so it's like clockwork to them to know exactly what to do. Ms. Smith and Mr. Rouse, they're old pros, as is Mr. Lloyd and the other folks that come to us. But we'll stay on top of it.
Good deal. Any further questions for staff? Thank you. This time we'll conduct a public hearing. If there's anyone present wishing to speak for or against this application, if you'd come forward and provide us your comments and address. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and open the floor for any further discussion or motion.
Make a motion to approve?
Second?
Is that motion subject to the staff comments?
Yes, thank you for clarifying.
And my second is supportive of that.
Thank you.
All right, motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, if you'd call the roll for us.
Mr. Batchelor?
Aye.
Mr. Kimberly?
Aye?
Mr. Tips?
Aye.
Vice Chair Halliburton?
Aye.
Chair Young?
Aye. All right, so that application's been approved. Next, another application by Mr. Roos for TNT Fireworks. It's application Z26009, requesting a special use permit in order to operate a temporary vending establishment. Again, another seasonal fireworks sales. This one is for property at 125 John R. Rice Boulevard. Mark, if you'd review that one for us.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, could we interject maybe and consult the legal counsel to stipulate all of the different conditions of the general portion as well as the special use conditions instead of regurgitating all of that once again? It's the same
I see what you're
applicant,
saying.
The only difference
Yes.
being location and the fact that they're asking not only for the July period, but also the December period as well.
Yes, I think we certainly can stipulate the general conditions. The specific recommendations to this application, they're not particularly voluminous, and so I would recommend that Mr. Roll go through those just to make absolutely clear what those specific conditions are. But
Okay.
I definitely see your point that we probably don't need to touch on the same general conditions since they apply equally here.
Yeah, I think Mr. Shackelford Rowell, if you would just, if there are any standards of general applicability or specific standards for fireworks that are of specific interest to the board, but other than that, I think go ahead and proceed.
Cool. This application is for another fireworks application. It is located at the Sam's Club, right off of 125 John R. Rice Boulevard. The applicant is submitting for the summer selling season that will run from June 28th through July 5th, as well as the winter selling season that will run from December 26th through January 2nd, 2027. This property is under the ordinance of the city of Murfreesboro and identifies as, the zoning for this property is CH, and the applicant will utilize a tent similar to the one at the previous location, same dimensions. Only thing that's different is the location that it will be operating at. The relevant sections for this is the standards of general applicability. We believe that general applicability for this site will be met. The only difference is that this tent is located. It still takes up 18 spaces. The closest fire hydrant, instead of 60 feet, is 70 feet away. The applicant has agreed to clean up the site after the selling seasons are in operation. Hours of operation are consistent, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. I'll scroll down so you can see the exhibit. The applicant is aware of the temporary vending ordinances, and I believe that they are compliant with that. They will post all city ordinances to the tent. The closest fuel source is more than 200 feet away, exactly 343 feet away towards the south. The applicant has agreed to remove the trash after the July 10th selling season, or after the summer selling season by July 10th, and for the winter selling season by January 7th. The applicant is aware that they must comply with all building and code relevant permits, as well as get a tent permit for their site here. And similar to the last site, no vending or food will be sold here, and the closest alcoholic beverage consumption place is more than 250 feet away. Staff recommends approval for this site. As proposed, we feel like the information they submitted in their site plan is compliant with all general applicability as well as temporary vending uses, and recommend conditions per the following, or recommend approval per the following conditions. Condition number 1, the tent be located in the shown, or in the same location shown on the aerial site plan. Condition number 2, the fireworks tent shall meet all minimum building setback requirements for the CH zoning district. Condition number 3, the tent be placed and weighed down in ways that do not penetrate the surface or ground. Similar to the last fireworks application, they will be weighing them down with water barrels. Going to open up questions to the board.
Any questions for staff on this one? Seeing none, Mr. Rouse, I skipped you last time. If you'd like to add something to this application, feel free to provide any extra comments if you'd like.
I just want to say,
If you don't mind coming to the podium.
I was just going to say, we have been working with y'all over 20 years. He's did a great job on the preparation, and it was good to work with Matthew also, and appreciate getting to work with the city.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, appreciate it. This time, we'll conduct a public hearing. Is there anyone present wishing to speak for or against this application, if you'd come forward? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing and open the floor for any further discussion or a motion.
I make a motion, we approve subject to all staff comments.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this application? If you'd call the roll for us.
Mr. Batchelor?
Aye.
Mr. Kimberly?
Aye.
Mr. Tips?
Aye.
Vice Chair Halliburton?
Aye.
Chair Young?
Aye. All right, thank you. That application has been approved as well. Next, we'll move to application Z26011 by Ms. Julie Smith for Absolute Fireworks, requesting a special use permit in order to operate a temporary outdoor vending establishment, another seasonal fireworks stand, in a commercial local zone. This is for property located at 3216 Memorial Boulevard. Mr. Anthony, if you'd review this for us.
Yes, Chair Young, and good afternoon, members of the Board of Zoning Appeals. So like you said, this is a request for a special use permit for seasonal fireworks sales at 3216 Memorial Boulevard. The applicant, Julie Smith, representing Absolute Fireworks, wishes to operate a fireworks tent for the 4th of July selling season from June 28th, 2026 to July 5th, 2026. The property is located at 3216 Memorial Boulevard. Our zoning ordinance permits seasonal fireworks sales as a use allowed with approval of a special use permit in the CL zoning district. This site was previously approved as a fireworks tent from 2009 until 2012. The applicant decided the year after to discontinue operating at this site due to experiencing merchandise theft, but now she is back applying for this site. The subject property is currently vacant, but was previously developed with a motel. The motel burned down, but the parking lot still remains. The site is surrounded by existing commercial development zone CL and or CH. To the west of the site, there is the Regency Estate subdivision, which is zoned RS15, and the Park at Murfreesboro apartment complex, which is zoned RM16. To the south of the site, there is the Regal Square Commercial District, which is zoned PCD, and the Villas at Regal Square, which is zoned PRD. The tent will be situated along the northeast corner of the paved area on the lot. The hours of operation will be from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., which is consistent with other fireworks applications. The applicant has provided a letter and a site plan demonstrating compliance with the special use permit standards for temporary vendors. The tent used on site will be a 30 by 60 tent, and it will be 235 feet from a fire hydrant. The tent will be 250 feet from the closest fuel source and more than 250 feet from any establishment that offers on-site consumption of alcohol. The applicant will remove all trash and equipment from the site on or before July 10th, 2026. Additionally, a letter has been signed by the property owner, which is Mr. Jagu Patel, granting the applicant permission to operate the fireworks tent. I'm going to scroll down to the site. Staff does believe that all standards of general applicability have been met, and I'll just go through quickly some of the relevant temporary vendor and fireworks standards. For parking, staff believes that there is plenty sufficient parking on the site, as most of the site is paved, and the tent will be occupying a very slim portion of the paved area. As previously stated, the site is 235 feet from a fire hydrant. With the standard is just it has to be within 500 feet. Let's see. There will be a portable toilet on site. There are no outstanding violations on the site. The applicant will be using a temporary power pole for the site, which will be removed within 14 days after the permit expires. The tent is not located within any easements. Trash will be carried off daily to an off-site location. The applicant will not be using any noise amplification devices. As previously stated, the applicant will be operating from June 28th through July 5th, and the hours of operation will be 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. The parking lot is paved asphalt and is not gravel, so the standard regarding gravel does not apply. And then for the conditions relating to fireworks seasonal retailers, the site is 250 feet from the nearest fuel source. There's a gas station on the property south, but the tent will be 250 feet away from the pumps. The site is not located within 250 feet of any licensed establishment that offers on-site consumption of alcohol. Again, they'll be operating from June 28th through July 5th, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., and they will have all trash and equipment removed by or before July 10th. The applicant will comply with all state and city ordinances, and they will post a copy of these ordinances at the tent. The applicant is aware that the period for approval is not more than a year, and the request is only for the 4th of July selling season for 2026. The applicant is aware that they need a tent permit. The applicant has not so far provided certification of the tent being flame resistant, but they are aware of this requirement and they will provide that information when they apply for the tent permit. The applicant is aware that they need to keep a fire extinguisher. They are aware that they will not set off fireworks on site, that they need to keep the city's fireworks ordinance on site, and they are aware that they will have to pass inspection with building and codes. Staff recommends approval of the special use permit to operate a seasonal fireworks retailer at the subject property with the following staff conditions. The tent shall be located in the area as shown on the aerial photo submitted with this application. The fireworks tent shall meet all minimum building setback requirements for the CL zoning district, and the tent shall be placed and weighed down in ways that do not penetrate the surface of the ground. And the applicant is here.
Thank you. Any questions for the staff at this point?
I did notice there's some residential behind this. I think from a quick Google search, it appears to be some trailers back there that may have a line of sight to it. Is that something that was considered?
I believe that the trailers are no longer there.
Okay, that, based on what Google Images showed me, that's not surprising. They did not appear to be the most sturdy structures back there.
And
But I just,
the trailers are actually, and Julie can speak more to this if she would like, but the trailers are the reason why she discontinued at the site previously, is because she was having, I believe it was neighborhood kids from the trailer park come through and steal merchandise, and so that's why she discontinued. And so now that the trailer park is not there, that's why she's decided to come back.
Anything else for staff? Ms. Smith, anything you'd like to add to the application?
Not necessarily add, I just want to confirm, there was a trailer park there, and that is why we didn't return, and it is now not there, so we are returning there.
Okay.
great, thank you.
And nice to see you guys, it's been a while.
You too, yeah.
24 years selling fireworks in Murfreesboro.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
I will answer your puzzling question, why there's so many new applicants. It's 250th celebration of America this year, and it's on a Saturday. That's why all the locations are coming up.
Big season. Okay. Thank you. This time, we'll conduct a public hearing. Is there anyone present wishing to speak for or against this application? If you'd come forward. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing and open the floor for a motion or any further discussion.
Make a motion to approve pending staff comments.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the motion? If not, if you will call the roll for us.
Mr. Batchelor?
Aye.
Mr. Kimberly?
Aye.
Mr. Tips?
Aye.
Vice Chair Halliburton?
Aye.
Chair Young?
Aye. All right, that application's been approved. Appreciate everybody's help. Next, we'll move to staff reports and other business.
No, sir, I have none.
All right. Well, with that, we will adjourn. Thank you.